Moving!
Ukraine continues to push back Russian forces. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the rescue of 2 Ukrainian soldiers, the destruction of Russian BMPs along with their infantry, and footage of Russian soldiers pretending to be dead. We'll also touch on how much value is given to isolated Russian soldiers by their own units during such events. We're doing our best to bring you the latest updates from the front lines. Stay with us for more. April 4th, 2025. Near the strategically important village of Dakhny in the Donetsk region, Ukrainian troops from the 28th Mechanized Brigade quickly mobilized to evacuate 2 Ukrainian soldiers under heavy Russian mortar and machine gun fire. The ongoing clashes in the area catch the attention of the Ukrainian forces, and they act immediately. Due to the urgency of the situation, they head towards the area swiftly in a Humvee vehicle. As the Ukrainian soldiers board the vehicle, the sound of gunfire escalates rapidly as they reach the area, and chaos fills the environment. The soldiers inside the vehicle move quickly to reach their target. The situation is extremely critical. The 2 Ukrainian soldiers are under heavy fire and must be rescued immediately. Movement on the battlefield is extremely difficult, and every second counts. A rescue operation is launched to save the injured soldier. The soldier, who has been wounded in the leg, is urgently brought into the vehicle. Other Ukrainian soldiers use the dense fog in the area to stealthily rescue their comrades without drawing attention or engaging with the enemy. Such operations require precise coordination and secrecy. As the injured soldier is quickly placed into the Humvee, the soldiers inside begin administering first aid. While attending to the soldier's leg, the vehicle moves forward. The severity of the terrain becomes more evident with every jolt of the vehicle. The fact that the back door of the vehicle won't close adds to the difficulty. A soldier sitting in the front passenger seat struggles to close the door. After a while, the door is successfully secured. The Ukrainian soldiers communicate with other units via radio from inside the Humvee. For security, they move in coordination with other units in the area and advance according to the orders they receive. Eventually, despite all the challenges, they manage to reach a safe area. The injured soldier is immediately handed over to medical personnel and is taken to medical points for first aid. According to reports, both soldiers are currently in stable condition. The injured soldier's leg is expected to heal with treatment. April 8th, 2025. In footage taken towards the end of last year, the operation carried out by foreign volunteers from the 2nd Battalion of the International Legion to retake a settlement in the Kursk region, which was under Russian control, is examined in detail. The operation begins with Ukrainian forces cautiously and carefully approaching the area. However, they are suddenly met with intense enemy fire. The progress of the Ukrainian troops is interrupted by the defenses established by the Russians in the settlement. During the intense firefight, the soldier recording the footage quickly makes a decision and throws a bomb directly at the enemy positions. After the explosion, there is a brief period of silence. However, this silence is short-lived as Ukrainian forces immediately spring into action and begin returning fire. At this moment, the soldier recording the video hands a rocket-propelled grenade, RPG, to his comrade. This munition is crucial to weakening the Russian defenses and accelerating the advance in the area. Ukrainian forces continue to move forward in a disciplined and orderly manner, heading toward the positions held by the Russians. During their advance, the soldier recording the footage targets enemy positions with a bomb and quickly retreats.
Frag out!
Meanwhile, other Ukrainian units apply the same strategy, starting to surround the Russian lines from different entry points. Each Ukrainian unit secures a specific area, preventing the Russian soldiers from mounting an effective defense, and gradually clears the settlement. The teams carefully inspect every street and corner, dismantling the Russian defensive lines. By the end of the operation, Ukrainian forces managed to neutralize all Russian troops and successfully retake the settlement. April 7, 2025. We will witness a compilation of operations carried out by the Ukrainian Hora group against the Russians in the Ivanivka region of the Kharkiv area. In the first footage, we see a BMP-2 moving towards Ukrainian positions. Ukrainian forces continue to track it for a while. Then, they launch an attack and successfully hit the BMP-2. After the explosions, 2 Russian soldiers inside the vehicle disembark and begin to flee. Another BMP-2 that arrives in the area starts firing randomly. Ukrainian forces also target and hit this BMP-2. After the attack, the Russian armored vehicle continues its path for a while but eventually halts due to a mechanical failure. One Russian infantryman exits the vehicle and begins advancing on foot in the area. The Ukrainian drone operator neutralizes the Russian infantryman before he can escape. Subsequently, the 2 Russian soldiers who had fled from the previously hit BMP-2 are spotted again in an open field. They are wounded in the attack and have collapsed in an area without moving too far. The Ukrainian operator drops a bomb on these 2 soldiers. As a result of the explosion, both Russian soldiers are killed. Other Russian soldiers in the area are also identified and individually targeted. In the second part of the footage provided by the Hora group, another BMP-2 is spotted. Ukrainian forces, assessing the Russian activity in the region, had previously laid anti-tank mines in the area. This Russian vehicle hits one of the mines. After the explosion, smoke starts to rise from the vehicle, and the Russian infantrymen aboard begin jumping out one by one. Some soldiers die immediately on the spot, while the survivors remain beside their wounded comrades. Ukrainian forces, using vampire drones, aim to finish the job. A Russian soldier trying to assist his comrade is targeted. The bomb doesn't hit the enemy precisely, but is enough to injure and disorient him. Without wasting time, the Ukrainian operator sends another bomb. This time, as the Russian soldier attempts to flee alone, he is hit again. As a result of the attacks, 3 Russian soldiers are wounded and are unable to move. According to reports, these 3 Russian soldiers are later shot and killed by Ukrainian forces. Now we move on to the third part of the footage. Russian forces again enter the area with a BMP-2. The Russian vehicle with infantry on board moves quickly. However, Ukrainian forces are prepared for the attack. The drone operators strike the vehicle suddenly, causing a large explosion. A Russian soldier sitting in the front is trapped inside the opened hatch due to the explosion. After the blast, the Russian soldiers quickly disembark the vehicle. As the vehicle moves on its own, the soldier trapped in the hatch lies on the ground to catch his breath, unaware that a drone is watching him. The drone operator drops a bomb on this soldier. After the explosion, the Russian soldier is injured. Ukrainian forces then target the other soldiers. Due to limited cover in the area, Ukrainian forces easily identify and hit the Russian soldiers one by one. After all the soldiers are injured and unable to move, they are once again attacked to finish the job, and all Russian infantrymen are killed. We have now reached the final part of the footage. In this footage, we first see 3 Russian infantrymen walking in an open field. Ukrainian forces track them for a while before launching an attack. When the Russian soldiers notice the drone, they immediately lie down. It is unclear why they do this. Perhaps they intended to feign death or thought that lying still would prevent the drone from detecting them. The drone operator drops a bomb on these soldiers. After the explosion, one of the soldiers remains motionless, while another soldier has a small reflex movement but still doesn't move. After another explosion, the soldier immediately starts to move, revealing that he had been affected by the initial attack. However, instead of running away, he lies down next to his comrade again. The Ukrainian drone operator drops another bomb on both of them. After the explosion, the surviving soldier begins to flee. The other Russian soldier, however, remains motionless. Was he truly dead? The Ukrainian operator drops several more bombs on this soldier. After the explosions, it becomes clear that the soldier was still alive initially, but dies as a result of the attacks. The other two escaping soldiers become the new targets of the Ukrainian operators. One of them is hiding under a tree, waiting. The bombs dropped by the drone neutralize this Russian soldier. The remaining Russian soldier is detected while attempting to flee. Although he manages to escape for a while, he is eventually found and shot under a tree, ending his life. Other Russian soldiers in the area are similarly targeted and killed. April 8, 2025. Near the village of Klishchivka in the Donetsk region, Ukrainian forces from the 93rd Mechanized Brigade suddenly spot a Russian BMP advancing. However, the Ukrainian forces, while continuing to monitor the Russian vehicle, do not make any attempts to attack and move cautiously. This careful approach may seem puzzling at first glance, but the strategy behind it reveals a much deeper and calculated plan. Based on previous reconnaissance and intelligence gathered in the area, it was known that a TM-62 anti-tank mine had been placed in this location. Ukrainian forces were fully aware of the mine's position and carefully observed the situation. Instead of targeting the Russian vehicle and launching an immediate attack, the Ukrainian soldiers remained still, ensuring that the vehicle would be directed straight toward the mine. Ukrainian forces intentionally did not interfere with the BMP's movement, allowing it to drive into the mine. This strategic decision is an example of how effectively Ukraine utilizes local intelligence and the careful planning involved in their combat operations. At the moment of the explosion, the Russian BMP was completely destroyed, and the equipment, armor, and crew inside the vehicle were eliminated. April 9, 2025. Near the strategically important city of Toretsk in the Donetsk region, Ukrainian forces from the 28th Mechanized Brigade successfully detect Russian assault groups. Ukrainian reconnaissance teams carefully monitor the area and notice that infantry around a Russian tank are dismounting and spreading out in different directions. This indicates that Russian forces are preparing for a large-scale operation. Ukrainian forces immediately spring into action, using M109 self-propelled howitzers to launch intense attacks on the enemy positions. The effective fire from the howitzers significantly hinders the progress of the Russian assault groups. The first group attempts to flee through a forested area, but Ukrainian forces carefully select their targets and quickly begin their assault. As the first group moves rapidly through the forest, Ukrainian soldiers follow them with long-range howitzer fire. The initial strikes against the first group deal a severe blow to the enemy forces. The explosions cause confusion among the Russians, but some soldiers continue to attempt to escape. The second group advances along a trench line after passing through the forest. However, the coordinated attacks by Ukrainian forces persist. The M109 howitzers target this group with precise fire, and the assault along the trench line quickly weakens the second group, causing them to begin retreating. Finally, the third group hides among the surrounding bushes as they advance. Ukrainian forces track their movements and, at the right moment, deliver accurate strikes, causing the group significant losses. The last resistance in the bushes quickly comes to an end. As a result of the attacks, most Russian soldiers are reported to have either been killed or severely wounded. Ukrainian artillery support and airstrikes render a large portion of the Russian forces ineffective. However, for the surviving Russian soldiers, Ukrainian forces immediately intervene, using FPV drones to fully neutralize the wounded. These drones track and eliminate the last remaining enemy elements. April 9, 2025. The 3rd Special Forces Battalion carries out an operation against Russian infantry discovered in the village of Vovkove in the Donetsk region using FPV drones. Vovkove holds strategic significance for Ukraine due to its proximity to the front line and its role as a buffer zone for defending larger settlements like Pokrovsk. Russia's capture of such small settlements challenges Ukraine's defensive lines in the east and threatens major cities further west. Therefore, protecting villages like Vovkove is crucial for both regional control and the sustainability of Ukraine's overall war strategy. By defending these critical points, Ukraine aims to slow down or even stop Russia's advance. Considering the area and the number of soldiers, these Russian troops are likely survivors of a Ukrainian attack. Small groups are not typically assigned to such terrain, as they can easily be spotted and neutralized by drones. These small units are sometimes deployed to secure supply routes or prepare for future military operations. However, it's not certain that these soldiers are there for these purposes. Does Russia attempt to retrieve these isolated soldiers? Generally, Russia does not show significant organizational effort to retrieve or rescue lost and isolated soldiers. In most cases, soldiers who are separated from their units or go missing struggle to survive amidst the harsh conditions of war and often face death. The reason for this is that Russia's war strategy tends to focus on directing the overall course of the war rather than prioritizing the individual survival of soldiers. Retrieving or rescuing lost soldiers is a costly and risky operation that is typically not prioritized over achieving main objectives on the front line. Additionally, Russia's organizational difficulties, logistical challenges, and the complex nature of the war make such rescue missions nearly impossible.